ॐ श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम गोपिका जीवनस्मरणं गोविन्दा गोविन्दा सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। नमो नमः सद्गुरुभ्यः सद्गुरुभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो नमः सद्गुरुभ्यः सद्गुरुभ्यो नमो नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरह कातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। यस्वानुभावमखिल श्रुतिसारमेकम् अध्यात्मदीपम् अतिथितीर्षतां तमोन्धं संसारिणां करुणयाः पुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससूनुम् उपयामि गुरुं मुनीनां। योगीन्द्राय नमस्तस्मै शुकाय ब्रह्मरूपिणे संसारसर्पदष्टं यो विष्णुरातमहूमुचते कालव्यालमुखग्रास त्रासनिर्नाशहेतवे श्रीमद्भागवतं शास्त्रं कलौकीरेण भाषितम् एतस्मादपरं किञ्चित् मनःशुद्ध्यै न विद्यते जन्मान्तरे भवेत् पुण्यं तदा भागवतं लभेत् ज्ञानवैराग्यसम्पूर्णान् हरिभक्तिपरायणान् पूर्वाचार्यातहं वन्दे सम्प्रदायप्रवर्तकान् भगवन्नाम साम्राज्य लक्ष्मी सर्वस्वविग्रहं श्रीमद्बोधेन्द्र योगीन्द्र देशिकेन्द्रम् उपास्महे। कलिकालोचितं धर्मं नाम संकीर्तनात्मकं निर्णेतुमवतीर्णं तं प्रेमिकं सद्गुरुं भजे। हरे रामेति कृष्णेति नाम संकीर्तनं सदा लोकक्षेमाय कुर्वन्तं प्रेमिकं सद्गुरुं भजे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयात् इतरतश्चार्तेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमस्त्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम् श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यते प्रकृतिभिः शुश्रूषिभिस्तत्क्षणात् निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखात् अमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् श्रीमद्भागवताख्योऽयं प्रत्यक्षः कृष्ण एव हि स्वीकृतोऽसि मया नाथ मुक्त्यर्थं भवसागरे मनोरथो मदीयोऽयं सफलः सर्वदा त्वया निर्विघ्नेनैव कर्तव्यो दासोऽहं तव केशव। श्रीहरे नमः श्रीहरे नमः श्रीहरे नमः। गोपिका जीवनस्मरणं गोविन्दा गोविन्दा सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Welcome everyone. Okay, so today we had like about 30 stanzas to review from 41 to the 19th up to 20. So let's just see who I had. Vasu, can you do one half? And Vijay, can you do one half?
We'll do the first one. எதுலேருந்து சொல்லுங்க சாரி.
You can do from 41 of 18th till 5th of 19th.
Okay, perfect. I'll do that. Nishamyadane Shaptam.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll start with that. Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namah. निशम्य सप्तम् अतदर्हं नरेन्द्रं स ब्राह्मणो नात्मजम् अभ्यनन्दात् अहो बतां हो महदत्यते कृतम् अल्पीयसीद्रोह उरुर्दमो धृतः नैवै नृभिर्नरदेवं पराख्यं सम्मातुम् अर्हस्य विपक्वबुद्धे यत्तेजसाधुर्विष विषहेन गुप्ता विन्दन्ति भद्राण्य कुतो भयः प्रजाः.
So the first line, first letter, na vai.
Oh, Natapachan. Okay, na vai. Okay. अलक्ष्यमाने नरदेवनाम्नि रताङ्गपाना वयमङ्गलोकः तदा हि चौरप्रचुरो विनक्ष्यति अराक्ष्यमानो विवरूत वत्क्षणात्
Second line after comma, arakshya, not I think you said araksha or araksha something.
அரக்ஷ்ய தான் சொன்னேன், sorry.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
அரக்ஷ்யமானோ விவரூத வக்ஷணாத், எனக்கு அந்த வார்த்தை வரவே மாட்டேங்குது. வக்ஷணாத் கரெக்டா தானே சொல்றேன்?
வக்ஷணாத் கரெக்ட். யா.
வக்ஷணாத் ததத்யனः பாபம் உபைத்ய நன்வயம் யன்னஷ்டநாதஸ்ய வசோர்விலும்பகாத் பரஸ்பரம் ஞந்தி ஷபந்தி விருஞ்சதே பசூன் ஸ்திரியோர்தான் புருதஸ்ய वो जनाः तदार्य धर्मश्च विल्यते नृणां वर्णाश्रमाश्चारयुतस्त्रयीमयः ततोऽर्थ कामाभिनिवेष्टितात्मनां शुन्नां कपीनामिव वर्णशङ्करः.
Just in the after comma second shunam.
Okay, shunam kapinamiv varnashankarah dharmapalo narapatihi satu samrat brihatshravah sakshan mahabhagavato rajashirhayamedhayat shutrichrama yutodino नैवांश्च चापमर्हति.
Last word naivas much.
Okay, नैवास्मच्चापमर्हति अपापेषु स्वबृहत्तेषु बालेन पक्वबुद्धिना पापं कृतं तद्भगवान् सर्वात्मा शन्तुमर्हति. तिरस्कृता विप्रलब्धाः शप्ताः क्षिप्ताहता अपि नास्य तत्प्रति कुर्वन्ति तद्भक्ता प्रभवोऽपिः इति पुत्रकृताग्नेन सोऽनुतप्तो महामुनिः स्वयं विप्रकृतो राज्ञा नैवाघं तदचिन्तयत् प्रायसस् साध्वो लोके परैर्द्वन्द्वेषु योजिताः न व्यतन्ति न हृष्यन्ति यदात्मा गुणाश्रयः. इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां प्रथमस्कन्धे विप्रशापोफलं वनं नाम 18 एकविंशोऽध्यायः. सूत उवाच महीपतिस्त्वत तत्कर्म गर्ह्यं विचिन्तयन् नात्मकृतं सुधूर्मनाः अहो मया नीचम् अनार्यवत्कृतं निरागसी ब्रह्मणि गूढतेजसी ध्रुवं ततो मे कृतदेव हेलनन्दनाथ. ओके, सारी तपा சொல்லிட்டேன். ध्रुवं ततो मे कृतदेव हेलनाथ दुरत्ययं व्यासनं नाति दीर्घात् तदस्तु. Sorry,
second word vyasanam, not vyasanam. Vyasanam.
दुरत्ययं व्यसनं नाति दीर्घात् तदस्तु कामं त्वग निष्कृताय मे यथा न कुर्यां पुनरेवम् अद्यैव राज्यं बलं वृद्धकोशं प्राकोपित ब्रह्मकुलानलो मे दहत्व भद्रस्य पुनर्न मे भूत पापीयसी धीर द्विज देवगोभ्यः
The
सचिन्
first line after comma, first line, the prakopita. You said prakopita, prakopita.
Okay. प्रकोपित ब्रह्मकुला नलोमि okay. सचिन्तयन् नित्यम् अताशिनोध्यता मुने सुतोक्तो मुने सुतोक्तो निरतस्तक्षकाय तक्षकायः
Kakyah.
स
Sorry, takshakakyah.
தக்ஷகாக்கியः ஓகே அது நான் தப்பா படிச்சிருந்தேன் முனே ஸ்துதோக்தோ நிரதஸ்தத் தத் தக்ஷகாக்கியः ஓகே
Yeah.
முனேஷு தோக்தோ நிருததस्तक्षकाक्यः स साधु मेनेने चिरेण तक्षकानलं प्रसक्तस्य विरक्ति कारणम् சாரி நான் சரியா சொல்லல
Okay. On the line, you have to kind of, like on the takshakanalam, we are not breaking it, right? It will be sasadu mene nachirena takshakanalam prasaktasya virakti karanam. We'll just go a little bit different.
Fast. Okay. Ato vihayam amamum cha lokam vimashritau heyataya purastat krishnangri sevam adimanyamanah upavishat prayam amartya nadhyam.
Yeah, stop there.
या वैलस श्री तुलसी विंश्र कृष्णाङ्घ्रिरेण्वप्यधिकाम्बुनेत्री पुनादिलोकान् उपयन्त्र शेषान् कस्तां न सेवेत मर्ष्यमानः इति विवचित्य स पाण्डवेयः प्रायोपवेशं प्रति विष्णुपत्यां तत्यौ मुकुन्दाङ्घ्रि मनन्यभावो मुनिव्रतो मुक्त समस्त संगः तत्रोपजग्मुर्भुवनं पुनाना महानुभावा मुनयः शिष्याः प्रायेण तीतापि कमाबते सैः स्वयं हि तीर्थानि पुनन्ति सन्तः अत्रिर्वसिष्ठस्यवन शरत्वान् अरिष्टनेमिर्भृगुरङ्गिराश्च पराशरो खादिसुधोधरामः उधत्य इन्द्र प्रमथेत्मवाहौ मेधाधिदेवल आर्षिषेणो भारद्वाजो गौतम पिप्पलातः मैत्रेय और्व भवक्षकुम्भयोनिः तत्त्वैपायनो भगवान् नारदश्च अन्ये च देवऋषि ब्रह्मऋषि वर्याः राजऋषिवर्या अरुणादयश्च नानार्षेयव्रवरान् समेतान् अभ्यर्च्य राजा शिरसा भवन्ते.
On the first line, first on the Arunadayascha, in there is no visarga. Okay, Arunadayascha. And then the first part of it, you are saying Deva Rishi, Brahma Rishi, Raja Rishi. Cannot split it that way. Okay, it's Anyecha Devarshi Brahmarshi Varya. It kind of comes together as a joint instead of separating it.
Oh, okay. Anyecha Devarshi
Brahmarshi Varya.
Devarshi Brahmarshi Varyaha.
Adhe mari
Rajarshi. Okay, நான் எப்படி சொன்னேன் நான் நிறுத்தி
Raja-rishi, you are saying Brahma Rishi, Deva Rishi. You are saying it as two different words, which are the two different words, but then it'll always get joined. You don't say Deva Rishi, it'll become Devarshi. It's like they and are, we make it there, right? So adamari, you cannot like separate those two words.
Okay, got it. सुखोपविष्टेष्वदतेषु भूयः कृतव्रणां स्वचिकीर्षितं यत् विज्ञापयामास विविक्तचेताः उपस्थितोक्रे विगृहीतपाणिः राजोवाच अहो वयं तमा नृपाणां महतमानुग्रहणीयशीलाः राज्ञां कुलं ब्राह्मणपाद शौचात् दूरात् विसृष्टं पदगृह्य कर्म तस्यैव मे कहस्य परावरेशो व्यासक्त चित्तस्य वभीषणम् विभीषणं
not a full ksha, it's a half ksha. So bhikshnam.
भीक्षणं निर्वेदमूलोद्विज शापरूपो यत्र प्रसक्तो भयमासुधत्ते ट्यून्ला पेट्टु तम्मोपयातं प्रतियन्तु विप्रा.
No, just start it first line, Mari, right? Tammopayantam pratiyantu vipra.
तम्मोपयादं प्रतियन्तु विप्रा गङ्गा च देवी त्रिदचित्तमीशे द्विजोपसृष्टकुगस्तक्षको वा तशत्वलं कायत विष्णुखादः पुनश्च भूयात् भगवत् यनन्ते रदिः प्रसङ्गश्च तत् आश्रयेषु महत्सु याम् उपयामि सृष्टिं मैत्रियस्तु सर्वत्र नमोद्वजेभ्यः इति स्म राजद्वयसाय युक्तः प्राचीनमूलेषु कुलेषु धीरः उदङ्मुखो दक्षिणकूल आस्ते समुद्रपत्न्याक् सुधन् यस्तपारः एवं पारः एवं
first line la end part on the मूलेषु कुशेषु
कुशेषु तीरः एवं च तस्मिन्नरदेवदेवे प्रायोपविष्टे द्विदेवसङ्घाः प्रसस्य भूमौ व्यक्रन् प्रसूनैः मुदामुः धुन्दुपयश्च नेतुः महर्षयो वै समुपागता ये प्रससस्य सात्वित्यनुमोदमानाः ऊचुब्राजानुग्रहशीलसाराः यत्वुत्तम श्लोकगुणाभिरूपं नवायितं राजर्षिवर्यचित्रं भवस्सु गृह्णं समनुवर्तेषु व्रतेषु एत्यासनं राजक्रीडजुष्टं सत्यो जुहु बहवत् पार्श्वकामाः.
The second line and the first word jahur. You said juhur. Jahur bhagavat parshvakama.
Oh, okay. Jahu bhagavat. Okay. Sarve vayam tavadiha sma mahi. Okay. I think 21 varaikum mudichonu nenikiren illaya.
Go ahead then. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Sarve vayam tavadiha smaha महेद कलवरं यावद शौ विहाय लोकं परं विरजस्कं विशोकं यास्यत्ययं भागवत प्रधानः.
And the first line just before the comma, tavat ihasma hedya. Tavat sarve vayam tavat ihasma hedya.
Okay.
Okay, and I think Dya you didn't say it, but just make a note of it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's continue. We'll we are 20 more in this. So let me see for the first half. Jayashree, Shankar, are you online right now?
Yeah, I am here.
Okay. So
Namaskaram.
you and then Srividya, you can be student for the first half. And then Revati and Gopiji, you can be for second half. Okay, so let me first finish the meaning, right? We kind of stopped at like about, 22, 23, we stopped. So let me finish the meaning of this chapter and then we'll go to the rest, right? So kind of where we left off last time was where the sages had all come, everybody had come there. And I think I was telling last time, Kumbha Yonihi, I was saying must be Agastya. There's no other person who's called Kumbha Yoni. So it has to be him, so that's my guess on that. So anyway, so all of them were there, and then Parikshit, he's welcoming everybody, and they all decide to stay. Like we said, they all discuss among themselves and said, "Great devotee of the Lord, he's going to be, the last few days of his life. No better place to spend than be next to him because he's always going to be praying. So that's the best place for us to also be there." So they all decide to stay there, and then Parikshit then asks them two questions. First, he says, "What is the correct duty for everyone? What should they be doing in all circumstances?" Number one. And number two is specifically if someone who's about to die, what should they be doing, right? He asks them those two questions, but they don't get a chance to answer because right after he asks those questions, that's when in stanza 25, Shukha Brahmam is entering. So at that point, enters, like 25, it says, Bhagavan Vyasa Putro, the son of Vyasa, who's after hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Vyasa, and then Shukha Brahmam decided, okay, I've now got everything, and he has no interest anyways in anything else. He was a realized soul. So he was just wandering around the earth, dissatisfied, disinterested. And he was satisfied with himself, disinterested in everything else. And as he was walking, and he was roaming around. But then he knew that he had to be there at this point in time, right, in this place. So as he was coming, he then entered there. He was surrounded by a lot of women and children and everybody, right, who was actually walking there. And, so here, when he comes in, it describes him in a few stanzas. They describe how he is, how he looks, right? It says first is Dveshta Varsham, Dvi Ashta Varsham. So he's 16 years old, and then because he's 16 years old, he's a youth, right? So he talks about how his legs, his hands, his thighs, his arms, his forehead, all the body parts were like very delicately formed because just the youth, it's just beginning to transition. His eyes were, beautiful and wide eyes, and ears were all well defined ears. And then his eyebrows, face, everything was nicely built. And then he had a neck which was like the conch shell, which is like how Krishna is. And more importantly, it says all of these things. He had a deep navel, like it says Avarthanabhim. So he has a very deep navel, and then his abdomens were beautifully shaped and everything. He had a curly hair, he had a beautiful face, describes everything. But the summary it says is the hue, the color of his body resembled just like how Krishna was. So there was no difference from looking at Krishna and looking at Shukha Brahma. They looked very much the same. They had Pralamba Bahum. They also had long arms, and the color was again the black color. So it again goes on to describe how he was also dark in color, and his looks was exactly like how Krishna was, right? So because of all this looks, because of his very attractive features, bodily features, he says he was somebody who anybody would fall in love with, right? From a form perspective, from a beauty perspective. However, when the moment he entered, the tejas that came along with him, all the sages who were sitting there actually got up. So they got up for two things. One is, by looking at him, he had so much tejas that they naturally wanted to pay respect to him. Secondly, they knew that amongst everybody that he has more knowledge. Two people don't get up naturally. One is Veda Vyasa, who is Shukha Brahman's guru and his father. And second is Narada, who's Veda Vyasa's guru. Right? So those two people don't get up, but everybody else who get up, and then they honor him. And so when it's interesting, it says, when all these sages and everybody gets up, these other common people, the women and children who were following Shukha Brahman, because he was naked, he was just walking around, so they thought he must be some great saint, right? So they're all following him. But when he comes here, they say the entire community is standing up. So they all get very afraid. Saying, maybe this is some very great person. We didn't even know who he was. We were just blindly following him. So they all get very worried and they all end up leaving, right? So they all don't stay back. So anyway, so Shukha Brahmam is then welcomed, and then, everybody surrounds him. And at that time, this thing, what you call Parikshit also goes there and meets with him. And, Parikshit offers his respects. And then Parikshit says, that irrespective of what one's royalty is and all of that, it's a great privilege that Shukha Brahma, you have come here. right? He says, just by thinking about you, we all get sanctified. And in my last 7 days, I'm getting an opportunity, because he doesn't know what's going to happen, right? So he's saying, I am getting an opportunity to see you, to touch you, to wash your feet and do all this. So he says, I'm really blessed, right? Because I'm getting this one opportunity to actually see you. And he says, just by looking at you, everybody's sins get banished, and I'm getting a chance to look at you. So he's feeling very happy, right? And then then Shukha Brahman then is there. He knows. He asks Parikshit, what questions do you have? What do you have in your mind? So Parikshit then asks this very similar. He asks 10 questions to Shukha Brahman, but he asks it as one stanza, right? In stanza 38, in 38 he says, Yet shrotavyam ato jhapyam. So shrotavyam is what is worth hearing. Ato jhapyam, what is worth chanting. Yet kartavyam, what is worth doing. Next is smartavyam. So smartavyam is that which should be remembered all the time. And bhajaniyam, this is what should be the worshipable. What is worshipable? So 5 things, right? Shrotavyam, japyam, kartavyam, smartavyam, bhajaniyam. What are the 5 each of these things? And what are the 5 things? What are the things we should not do? So what is the thing which is not worth hearing? What is it you should not worry about doing? What is it you should not remember? What is it you should not worship? So he says, what are the 5 things you should do, and what are the 5 things you should actually not do? So with that, he does prostrations to Shukha Brahman and says, I have these questions, so please answer these 10 questions for me. So once he says that, and then here again he says here, on the 39th stanza, it will say, Api go dohanam kvachit. Like we discussed as we're talking Bhagavatam Mahatmyam is, when the sages also ask, right? Is a person like Shukha Brahman doesn't stay at a place till that, even for the time it takes to milk a cow. He doesn't wait in a person's house. Why did Shukha Brahman stay there for 7 days, right? So that's what the sages asked long time back in the Bhagavatam Mahatmyam. Here also Shukha Brahman says, you are such a great person, you don't stay even for that small amount of time, but please answer these questions for me. So with that, this canto comes to an end, because Shukha Brahman starts answering, which will then come from the second canto. Okay, so we'll go to 22, sorry. Ashrutya thadrishi gana vachah parikshita, comma, samam madhuchut guru chavyalekam, abhasha tainan abhinandya, you can break it that na, abhinandya yuktan, comma, सुश्रूषमानश् चरितानि विष्णोः आश्रित्य तदृशिगणवचः परीक्षिते समं मधुच्युद्गुरुचाव्यलीकम् आभाषतैनान् अभिनन्द्य युक्तान् शुश्रूषमानश्चरितानि विष्णोः.
Go ahead, Jayashree.
No, go ahead, Sri Vidyaji, sorry.
आश्रित्य तदृशी गणवचः परीक्षित समं मधुच्युद्गुरुचाव्यलीकम् आभाषते तैनानभिनद्य युक्तान् शुश्रूषमाणश्चरितानि विष्णोः. आश्रित्य तदृशी गणवचः परीक्षित समं मधुच्युद्गुरुचाव्यलीकम् आभाषतैनानभिनद्य युक्तान् शुश्रूषमाणश्चरितानि विष्णोः.
आश्रित्य तदृशी गणवचः परीक्षित समं मधुच्युद्गुरुचाव्यलीकम् आभाषतैनानभिनन्द्य युक्तान् शुश्रूषमानश्चरितानि विष्णोः. आश्रित्य तदृशी गणवचः परीक्षित समं मधुच्युद्गुरुचाव्यलीकम् आभाषतैनानभिनन्द्य युक्तान् शुश्रूषमानश्चरितानि विष्णोः.
तमागतास् सर्वत एव सर्वे, वेदा यथा मूर्ति धरास् त्रिपृष्ठे नेहात नामुत्र. Some books may have vamutra, va. If you have vamutra, just change it to namutra. Nehata namutra cha kaschanartha, rite paranugraham atmashilam. Samhagata sarvata eva sarve veda yata murti darastri prishte नेहातनामुत्र च कश्चनार्थ ऋते परानुग्रहमात्मशीलम्
समागता सर्वत एव सर्वे वेदायता मूर्तिधरा स्त्रीपृष्ठे नेहातनामुत्र च कश्चनार्थ ऋते परानुग्रहमात्मशीलम् समागता सर्वत एव सर्वे वेदायता मूर्तिधरा स्त्रीपृष्ठे नेहातनामुत्र च कश्चनार्थ ऋते परानुग्रहमात्मशीलम्
समागतः सर्वत एव सर्वे वेदा यथा मूर्तिधरास्त्रिपृष्ठे नेहातनामुत्र च कश्चनात् ऋते परानुग्रहमात्मशीलम् समागता सर्वत एव सर्वे वेदा यथा मूर्तिधरास्त्रिपृष्ठे नेहातनामुत्र च कश्चनार्थ ऋते परानुग्रहमात्मशीलम्
ततश्च वः पृच्छ्यमिमं विपृच्छे विश्रव्य विप्रा इति कृत्यतायां सर्वात्मना म्रियमाणैश्च कृत्यं शुद्धं च तत्रामृषथाभियुक्ताः. We cannot break that word. Is tatra amrita abhiyuktaah. 3 words there. Tatascha, sorry.
Rajesh, the third line, can you repeat one more time?
Sarvatmana म्रियमाणैश्च कृत्यम्.
Thank you, Rajesh.
ततश्च वः पृच्छ्यमिमं विपृच्छे विश्रव्य विप्रा इति कृत्यथायां सर्वात्मना म्रियमाणैश्च कृत्यं शुद्धं च तत्रामृषथाभियुक्ताः.
ततश्च वः पृच्छयमिमं विपृच्छे विश्रव्य विप्रा इति कृत्यतायां सर्वात्मना म्रियमाणैश्च कृत्यं शुद्धं च तत्रामृषताभियुक्ताः ततश्च वः पृच्छयमिमं विपृच्छे विश्रव्य विप्रा इति कृत्यतायां सर्वात्मना म्रियमाणैश्च कृत्यं शुद्धं च तत्रामृषताभियुक्ताः.
On the first line, you're saying prichya, full ya. It's not a full ya, it's a half ya mari. Prichya mimam.
पृच्छयमिमं, okay.
Yeah.
ततश्च वः पृच्छमिमं विपृच्छे विश्रव्य विप्रा इति कृत्यतायां सर्वात्मनां म्रियमाणैश्च कृत्यं शुद्धं च तत्रामृषताभियुक्ताः ततश्च वः पृच्छमिमं विपृच्छे विश्रव्य विप्रा इति कृत्यतायां सर्वात्मनां म्रियमाणैश्च कृत्यं शुद्धं च तत्रामृषताभियुक्ताः
तत्रा भवत् भगवान् व्यासपुत्रो यदृच्छया गामठमानोनपेक्षः. If you want to break it, you can break gam athamanonapeksha, but it may not be easy that way either. So gam athamanonapeksha. अलक्ष्य लिंगो निज लाभ तुष्टो वृतश्च बालैर अवधूत वेशः. तत्राभवद् भगवान् व्यासपुत्रो यदृच्छया घामटमानो नपेक्षः अलक्ष्य लिंगो निज लाभ तुष्टो वृतश्च बालैरवधूत वेशः.
तत्राभवत् भगवान् व्यासपुत्रो यदृच्छया गामटमनोनपेक्षः अलक्ष्यलिङ्गो निजलाभतुष्टो वृतश्च बालैरवधूतवेषः. तत्राभवत् भगवान् व्यासपुत्रो यदृच्छया गामटमनोनपेक्षः अलक्ष्यलिङ्गो निजलाभतुष्टो वृतश्च बालैरवधूतवेषः.
First line, last word, gamata manonapekshah. Manonapekshah.
Okay, manonapekshah. Okay.
तत्राभवद् भगवान् व्यासपुत्रो यदृच्छया गामटमानोनपेक्षः अलक्ष्यलिङ्गो निजलाभतुष्टो वृतश्च बालैरवधूतवेषः. तत्र भवद्भगवान् व्यासपुत्रो यदृच्छया मानोनपेक्षः अलक्ष्यलिङ्गो निजलाभतुष्टो वृतश्च बालैरवधूतवेषः
तं द्व्यष्ट वर्षं सुकुमारपाद put a plus करोरु बाह्वंस इह हासोन बाह्वंस कपोल गात्रम चार्वायताक्षोन्नस one word चार्वायताक्षोन्नस तुल्य कर्ण put a plus the next word subbravanam, so it's like you have to remember the word subru and ananam, so that u and a becomes like a va, so subbravanam, it's like more like telling bravanam, brva, okay, subbravanam kambu sujata kantham तं द्व्यष्टवर्षं सुकुमारपादकरोरुबाह्वंसकपोलगात्रं चार्वायताक्षोन्नसतुल्यकर्ण सुब्रवाननं कम्बुसुजातकण्ठम्
तं द्व्यष्टवर्षं सुकुमारपादकरोरुबाह्वंसकपोलगात्रं चार्वायताक्षोन्नसतुल्यकर्ण. We can't stop, right? Sorry. Charvayatakshonnasatulyakर्ण subravanan kambusujatakанtham.
And the word, the best way to get that word right eventually is keep saying subru ananam, subru ananam, subru ananam, two words. You keep saying the two words together separately, but individually together for a long time. You'll get the right word. Subruvananam, Subruvananam, Subruvananam. You keep saying that, then you'll get that word. That's the right only way to get the right pronunciation of that word.
Okay. Tam dvyashtavarsham sukumarapadakarorubahvamsa kapolagatram charvaya takshonnasatulyakarna subruvananam kambhusujatakantham. Correct?
You are still saying subru. You are saying that u sound goes away and the u and a becomes va. But I'm saying you saying subru ananam. Two words, you write it down and just say it together like 10-15 times. You'll get the right combination that will come.
Subruvananam.
Subruvananam. Subru sound, not
vru. Okay. Subrunan. Okay.
Isn't it BR sound, Rajesh? It's a half B and a R, right?
Yeah, it is. It's more like BRVA.
BRVA,
Yeah.
तं द्व्यष्टवर्षं सुकुमारपादकरोरुबाह्वंसकपोलगात्रं चार्वायताक्षोन्नसतुल्यकर्ण सुब्रवाननं कम्बुसुजातकण्ठं तं द्व्यष्टवर्षं सुकुमारपादकरोरुबाह्वंसकपोलगात्रं चार्वायताक्षोन्नसतुल्यकर्ण Subbravananam kambusujatakantham.
Close enough. I just put the two words in the chat window so you guys can just practice that separately. Like I said, Subru Ananam, Subru Ananam, Subru Ananam. You kind of say that combination together, you'll get it. Okay. Niguda Jatrum Prutu Tunga Vakshasam. So break at that ma im. Next word starts with Avarta Nabhim Vali Valgudaram cha Digambaram Vaktra Vikirna Kesham, Pralamba Bahum Swamarota Mabham. Nigudha Jatrum Pritutunga Vakshasam Avartanabhim Valivalgudaram cha Digambaram Vaktra Vikirna Kesham Pralamba Bahum Swamarota Mabham.
Nigudha Jatrum Pritutunga Vakshasam Avartanabhim Valivalgudaram cha Digambaram Vaktravikirnakesham Pralamba Bahu Swamarottamabham. Nigudha Jastrum Pritutunga Vakshasam आवर्तनाभिं वलिवल्गुत्तरं च दिगम्बरं वक्त्रविकीर्णकेशं प्रलम्बबाहु स्वमरोत्तमाभम्
निगूढचत्रं पृथुतुङ्गवक्षसम् आवर्तनाबिम्बलिवल्गूदरं च दिगम्बरं वक्त्रविकीर्णकेशं प्रलम्बबाहुं स्वमरोत्तमाभम् निगूढचत्रुं पृथुतुङ्गवक्षसम् आवर्तनाबिम्बलिवल्गुदरं च
Valgodharam.
वल्गूदरं च दिगम्बरं वक्त्रविकीर्णकेशं प्रलम्बबाहुं स्वमरोत्तमाभम्
Shyamam sada pीच्य vayonga lakshmiya, strinam manognyam ruchira smithena pratyuttithaste, one word, munayas swasanebhyah. So that is there. We put a visarga comma, swasanebhyah. Tal lakshana jnapi, nya and api, you can just join these words, it will be difficult to say it. Tal lakshana jna api gudha varchasam. Shyamham sada pीच्य वयोङ्गलक्ष्म्यां स्त्रीणां मनोज्ञं रुचिरस्मितेन प्रत्युत्थितास्ते मुनयः श्वासनेभ्यः तल्लक्षणज्ञा अपि गूढवर्चसम्.
श्यामं सदा पीच्य वयोङ्गलक्ष्म्या स्त्रीणां मनोज्ञं रुचिरस्मितेन प्रत्युत्थितास्ते मुनयः श्वासनेभ्यः तल्लक्षणाख्यपि गूढवर्चसम् श्यामं सदा पीच्य वयोलङ्गलक्ष्म्या स्त्रीणां मनोज्ञं रुचिरस्मितेन प्रत्युत्थितास्ते मुनयः श्वासनेभ्यः तल्लक्षणाख्या अपि गूढवर्चसम्
श्यामं सदा पीच्य वयोङ्गलक्ष्म्या स्त्रीणां मनोज्ञं रुचिरस्मितेन प्रत्युत्थितास्ते मुनयः श्वासनेभ्यः तल्लक्षणज्ञा अपि गूढवर्चसम् श्यामं सदा पीच्य वयोङ्गलक्ष्म्या स्त्रीणां मनोज्ञं रुचिरस्मितेन प्रत्युत्थितास्ते मुनयः श्वासनेभ्यः तल्लक्षणया अपि गूढवर्चसम्
On the word tallakshणज्ञा अपि.
तल्लक्षणज्ञा अपि, thank you. गूढवर्चसम्, yeah.
स विष्णु राथो थिथय आगताय, तस्मै सपर्यां शिरसा जहार ततो निवृत्ता ह्यबुधाः. Put is ह्यबुधास स्त्रियोर्भकाः. So because you're putting a comma there, you put a visarga there. स्त्रियोर्भकाः, महासने सोप विवेश पूजितः. स विष्णुरातोतितय आगताय तस्मै सपर्यां शिरसा जहार ततो निवृत्ता ह्यबुधा स्त्रियोर्भकाः महासने सोपविवेश पूजितः.
स विष्णुरातोतिथय आगताय तस्मै सपर्या शिरसा जहार ततो निवृत्ता ह्यबुधाः अंगबुधाः சொல்லணுமா
Is will come the ह्यबुधास.
Okay, sorry. ततो वृत्ता ह्यबुधा स्त्रियो बकाः महासने सोपविवेश पूजितः स विष्णुरातोतिथय आगताय तस्मै सपर्या शिरसा जहार ततो निवृत्ता ह्यबुधा स्त्रियोर्बकाः महासने सोपविवेश पूजितः.
On the first line la saparyam, there is a im sound coming there.
Saparyam, okay.
स विष्णुरातोत्थितय आगताय तस्मै सपर्यां शिरसा जहार ततो निवृत्ता ह्यबुधा स्त्रियोर्बकाः महासने सोपविवेशपूजितः स विष्णुरातोत्थितय आगताय तस्मै सपर्यां शिरसा जहार ततो निवृत्ता ह्यबुधा स्त्रियोर्भकाः महासने सोपविवेशपूजितः
स संवृतस्तत्र महान् महीयसां ब्रह्मर्षि राजर्षि देवर्षि संघैः व्यरोचतालं भगवान् यतेन्दुः. Put a visarga and comma there. Next, on top of the gra, there is a ir that goes away. Graharksha tara nikaraih paritah. ससंवृतस्तत्र महान् महीयसां ब्रह्मर्षि राजर्षि देवर्षि संघैः व्यरोचतालं भगवान् यतेन्दुः ग्रहर्क्षतारानिकरैः परितः.
ससंवृतस्तत्र महान् महीयसां ब्रह्मर्षि राजर्षि देवर्षि संगैः व्यरोचतालं भगवान् यतेन्दुः ग्रहर्क्षतारानिकरैः परितः. ससंवृतस्तत्र महान् महीयसां ब्रह्मर्षि राजर्षि देवर्षि संगैः व्यरोचतालं भगवान् यतेन्दुः गृहर्क्षतारानिकरैः परितः.
I was going to just say one time, but maybe Jayshree just start do one time. Next 5, 6, 7 minutes.
ससंवृतस्तत्र महान् महीयसां ब्रह्मर्षि राजर्षि देवर्षि संगैः व्यरोचतालं भगवान् यतेन्दुः ग्रहर्क्षतारानिकरैः परितः.
Yeah, that word essentially is like graha, raksha, thara, referring to the planets. Graha is referring to the planets. Tara is all the stars, and raksha is meaning other heavenly bodies. So it was like as if when Shukra Brahman was sitting in between, he was like a moon, and then all the other stars and planetary systems were around him because he was little shining but dark like the moon, right? Maybe that combination, I guess. Prashantam Asinam Akuntha Medasam. You can break at those mass if you want. Comma. Munim Nripo Bhagavatobhyupetya Pranamya Murdna Bahitah Kritanjalihi. So put a visarga and comma there. Next, on the na, there is a ir that goes away. Natva gira sunritayanva prichyate. Can't break that word. प्रशान्तमासीनमकुण्ठमेधसं मुनिं नृपो भागवतोऽभ्युपेत्य प्रणम्य मूर्ध्ना वहितः कृताञ्जलिः नत्वा गिरासूनृतयान्वपृच्छत.
प्रशान्तमासीनमकुण्ठमेधसं मुनिं नृपो भागवतोऽभ्युपेत्य प्रणम्य मूर्ध्ना वहितः कृताञ्जलिः नत्वा गिरासूनृत्यान्वपृच्छत.
प्रशान्तमासीनमकुण्ठमेधसं मुनिं नृपो भागवतोऽभ्युपेत्य प्रणम्य मूर्ध्ना वहितः कृताञ्जलिः नत्वा गिरासूनृतयान्वपृच्छत. Sorry.
Parikshit uvacha aho adya vayam brahmanne satsevyaha. You have to say that visarga. Satsevyaha kshatra bandhavah kripayatiti rupena bhavadbhis tirtakah kritaha. Parikshit uvacha aho adya vayam brahmanne satsevyaha kshatra bandhavah कृपयातिथि रूपेण भवद्भिस्तीर्थकाः कृताः.
परीक्षितुवाच अहो अद्य वयं ब्रह्मन् सत्सेव्याः श्रुतबन्धवः कृपया तिथिरूपेण भवद्भिस्तीर्थकाः कृताः.
Actually, within the first line, last word, kshatra bandhavah. Satse.
Okay. Kshatrabandhavah.
Yeah.
परीक्षिदुवाच अहो अद्य वयं ब्रह्मन् सत्सेवयाः क्षत्रबन्धवः कृपयातिथिरूपेण भगवद्भिस्ति sorry I forgot the comma कृपयातिथिरूपेण भवद्भिस्तितखा कृताः
First line, Jayashree, Sat Sevyaha.
Oh. अहो अद्य वयं ब्रह्मन् सत्सेव्याः क्षत्रबन्धवः Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yesham samsmaranat pumsam, comma, sadhyash shuddhyanti vaigrihaha kim punar darshana sparsha, put a plus, pada shauchasanadibihi, one word. येषां संस्मरणात् पुंसां सद्यः शुद्ध्यन्ति वैगृहाः किं पुनर्दर्शनस्पर्श पादशौचासनादिभिः
येषां संस्मरणात् पुंसां सद्यः शुद्ध्यन्ति वैगृहाः किं पुनर्दर्शनस्पर्शपादशौ किं पुनर्दर्शनस्पर्शपादशौचासनादिभिः
The sparsha is the halfway. Kim punardarshanasparsha padashaucha. You can break like that.
Okay. किं पुनर्दर्शनस्पर्श पादशौचासनादिभिः
येषां संस्मरणात् पुंसां सद्यः शुद्ध्यन्ति वैगृहाः किं पुनर्दर्शनस्पर्श पादशौचासनादिभिः
सान्निध्याते महायोगिन, पातकानि महान्त्यपि सद्यो नश्यन्ति वै पुंसां, विष्णोरिव सुरेतराः सान्निध्याते महायोगिन् पातकानि महान्त्यपि सद्यो नश्यन्ति वै पुंसां विष्णोरिव सुरेतराः
सान्निध्यान्ते यात्ते महायोगिन् पातकानि महान्त्यपि सद्यो नश्यन्ति वै पुंसां विष्णोरिव सुरेतराः
सान्निध्याते महायोगिन् पातकानि महान्त्यपि सद्यो नश्यन्ति वै पुंसां विष्णोरिव सुरेतराः
अपि मे भगवान् प्रीतः, कृष्णः पाण्डुसुतप्रियः पैतृष्वसेय प्रीत्यर्थं, तत् गोत्रस्याथ बान्धवः, that is तद् गोत्रस्यात it अंडता यात बान्धवः अपि मे भगवान् प्रीतः कृष्णः पाण्डुसुतप्रियः पैतृष्वसेय प्रीत्यर्थं तद् गोत्रस्यात बान्धवः
अपि मे भगवान् प्रीतः कृष्णः पाण्डुसुतप्रियः पैतृष्वसेय प्रीत्यर्थं तद्गोत्रस्यात्तबान्धवः
अपि मे भगवान् प्रीतः कृष्णः पाण्डुसुतप्रियः पैतृष्वसेय प्रीत्यर्थं तद्गोत्रस्यात बान्धवः
We'll switch here. This Paitrishva say this word has come in, it comes in that Narakasura, that chapter where Krishna marries. It says Paitrishva say, which is father's sister. So there's, as aunt. So that's what he's referring here, saying Krishna already blessed all the Pandus because he was born as a relative to them, right? So already he's blessed all the Pandavas there, and that is continuing with me. Because of that blessings, I am getting a chance to meet Shukha Brahma. It's what Parikshit is saying.
Hey, Rajesh, can I ask a quick question on 34? That first word, is there an im on top of san? Is it san nidhyate or
Nidhya, yeah. It becomes an in because the na is coming later. So san nidhyate, yeah, it becomes a double in.
Okay, thank you.
So 36. I think we said Gopiji and Revati, right? Revati is on, yeah, okay. Anyatha te vyakta gatehe, so put a visarga comma. Next line, darshanam, the ir on top of the goes away. Darshanam nah katham rinam, nitaram mriyamananam, comma, samsiddhasya वनीयसः अन्यथा ते व्यक्तगतेः दर्शनं नः कथं नृणां नितरां म्रियमाणानां संसिद्धस्य वनीयसः. Go ahead, Gopiji.
Okay. अन्यथा ते व्यक्तगतेः दर्शनं नः कथं नृणां नितरां म्रियमाणानां संसिद्धस्य वनीयसः. अन्यथा ते व्यक्तगतेः दर्शनं नः कथं नृणां नितरां म्रियमाणानां संसिद्धस्य वनीयसः.
अन्यथा ते व्यक्तगतेः दर्शनं नः कथं नृणां नितरां म्रियमाणानां संसिद्धस्य वनीयसः. अन्यथा ते व्यक्तगतेः दर्शनं नः कथं नृणां नितरां म्रियमाणानां संसिद्धस्य वनीयसः.
अतः पृच्छामि संसिद्धिं योगिनां परमं गुरुं पुरुषस्येह यत् कार्यं म्रियमाणस्य सर्वथा. अतः पृच्छामि संसिद्धिं योगिनां परमं गुरुं पुरुषस्येह यत् कार्यं म्रियमाणस्य सर्वथा.
अतः पृच्छामि संसिद्धिं योगिनां परमं गुरुं पुरुषस्येह यत् कार्यं म्रियमाणस्य सर्वथा. अतः पृच्छामि संसिद्धिं योगिनां परमं गुरुं पुरुषस्येह यत् कार्यं म्रियमाणस्य सर्वथा.
Sarvatha, the second tha, okay, the last word.
सर्वथा.
अतस्पृच्छामि संसिद्धिं योगिनां परमं गुरुं पुरुषस्येह यत् कार्यं म्रियमाणस्य सर्वथा. अतस्पृच्छामि संसिद्धिं योगिनां परमं गुरुं पुरुषस्येह यत् कार्यं म्रियमाणस्य सर्वथा.
Revati, on the first line, ataf F will, the joining letter is a sound F. Ataf
Okay.
Pritchami. Okay.
Ataf pritchami. Yeah.
Yach Shrotavyam Atho Japyam, Yat Kartavyam Nribif F sound Prabho Smartavyam Bhajaniyam Va, Bruhi Yadva Viparyayam. Yat Shrotavyam Atho Japyam Yat Kartavyam Nribif Prabho Smartavyam Bhajaniyam Va Bruhi Yadva Viparyayam.
यत् श्रोतव्यम् अधोजप्यं यत् कर्तव्यं नृभिः प्रभो स्मर्तव्यं भजनीयं वा ब्रूहि यद्वा विपर्ययम्. यत् श्रोतव्यम् अधोजप्यं यत् कर्तव्यं नृभिः प्रभो स्मर्तव्यं भजनीयं वा ब्रूहि यद्वा विपर्ययम्.
यच्छ्रोतव्यम् अथो जप्यम् यत्कर्तव्यं नृभिः प्रभो समर्तव्यं भजनीयं वा ब्रूहि यद्वा विपर्ययम्.
Second line, second line, the comma is after va, okay, and then the first word of the second is sound, not full sa, smartavya.
यच्छ्रोतव्यम् अथो जप्यम् यत्कर्तव्यं नृभिः प्रभो स्मर्तव्यं भजनीयं वा ब्रूहि यद्वा विपर्ययम्.
And the brew is a long, okay, bruhi yadva, and the last word. Okay. Nunam bhagavato brahmanne, griheshu griha medhinam na lakshyate hyavastanam, that ma you put a impas, hyavastanam, next word starts with a, api go dohanam kvachite. Nunam bhagavato brahmanne griheshu griha medhinam na lakshyate hyavastanam api go dohanam kvachite.
नूनं भगवतो ब्रह्मन् गृहेषु गृह्यमेधिनां न लक्ष्यते ह्यवस्थानम् अपि गोदोहनं क्वचित्. Is it okay?
Yeah, I think it's one correction I have. You just try it again.
नूनं भगवतो ब्रह्मन् गृहेषु गृहमेधिनां न लक्ष्यते ह्यवस्थानम् अपि गोदोहनं क्वचित्
Yeah, right.
नूनं भगवतो ब्रह्मन् गृहेषु गृहमेधिनां न लक्ष्यते ह्यवस्थानम् अभिगोदोहनं क्वचित् नूनं भगवतो ब्रह्मन् गृहेषु गृहमेधिनां न लक्ष्यते ह्यवस्थानम् अभिगोदोहनं क्वचित्
सूतौ वाचा एवम् आभाषितः पृष्टः स राज्ञा श्लक्ष्णया गिरा प्रत्यभाषत धर्मज्ञो भगवान् बादरायणिः सूतौ उवाच एवमाभाषितः पृष्टः स राज्ञा श्लक्ष्णया गिरा प्रत्यभाषत धर्मज्ञो भगवान् बादरायणिः
सूत उवाच एवमाभाषितः पृष्टः स राज्ञो श्लक्ष्णया
உங்க இது பேக்ரவுண்ட்
सूत उवाच एवमाभाषितः पृष्टः स राज्ञा श्लक्ष्णया गिरा प्रत्यभाषध सर्वज्ञो भगवान् बादरायणिः
Second line before the comma, dharmagno.
धर्मज्ञो
Yeah.
सूत उवाच एवमाभाषितः पृष्टः स राज्ञो श्लक्ष्णया गिरा प्रत्यभाषत धर्मज्ञो भगवान् बादरायणिः
First line, Gopiji, the second time you said Ragno, it is Ragnya. First time you said it correctly.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Rajesh, I have a question. The Shlakshnyala, is the sh and la both half, or is it only the sh?
Ish and the iksh are half. Shlakshnaya. Ish. The first ish is coming, right? That is a
Correct.
half. That is a half ish. La is a full la. Then there's a sha that is coming.
Yeah, that is
sha
half.
is also half.
Okay.
So Shlakshnaya.
Thank you.
SHLA. Yeah, SHL will come there.
एवम् आभाषितः पृष्टः स राज्ञा श्लक्ष्णया गिरा प्रत्यभाषद धर्मज्ञो भगवान् बादरायणिः
Everything is Slakshanaya, you are saying. Slakshnaya.
श्लक्ष्णया.
Yeah, that's
Okay. एवम् आभाषितः पृष्टः स राज्ञा श्लक्ष्णया गिरा प्रत्यभाषद धर्मज्ञो भगवान् बादरायणिः.
Say that word again. Second time when you said again, you said the full ksha.
Sarajnya Lakshnaya.
Slakshnaya, that's it.
Yeah, Slakshnaya.
Yeah. Iti Srimad Bhagavate Mahapurane Vaiyasikhyam Ashtadasha Sahasrayam Paramahamsyam Samhitayam Pratamaskande Shukagamanam Nama Ekonna Vimshodhyayah. The end of every canto, they kind of summarize. The Vaiyasikyam is the one which is authored by Vyasa. Ashtadasha Sahasrayam, 16,000 stanzas. Because it's the first canto, they're summarizing. So, iti Srimad Bhagavate Mahapurane Vaiyasikyam Ashtadasha Sahasrayam Paramahamsyam Samhitayam Pratamaskandhe Shukagamanam Nama Ekonna Vimshodhyayah.
इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे वैयासिक्याम् अष्टादशसहस्रां पारमहंस्यां संहितायां प्रथमस्कन्धे शुकागमनं नाम एकोनविंशोऽध्यायः.
That's one time, it's okay. Go ahead, Revati.
Iti Srimad Bhagavate Mahapurane Vaiyasiyagyam Ashtadasasahasrayam Paramahamsyam Samhitayam Pratamaskante Sukhaga I don't have those words.
That's okay. I think I'll send you the image. And the adhik minadi sahasrayam. Okay. And the ashtadasha sahasrayam.
Okay.
All right. So we successfully completed one canto out of the 12 cantos which are there. Out of 16,000 stanzas, we finished about 808 stanzas right now. It's about approximately 5% we have finished, right? So the 800 stanzas itself, you cannot think of it in terms of Narayam. We learned 1056 stanzas in Narayam. This is 808. So you're kind of almost done 80%, right? Of what the entire Narayam was just the first canto of Bhagavatam. So now that will look much easier, when you look back at it, right? So, all right. We go to the Dvitiya Skandaha, Pratamodhyayah. Shri Shuka Uvacha, Variyanesha te prashnaha, Kruto loka hitam nripa, Atmavit sammatah pumsam, Shrotavyadishu yah paraha. Shri Shuka Uvacha, Variyanesha te prashnaha, Kruto lokahitam nripa, Atmavit sammatah pumsam, Shrotavyadishu yah paraha.
श्रीशुक उवाच वरीयानेशते प्रश्नः कृतो लोकहितं नृप आत्मवित्सम्मतः पुंसां श्रोतव्यादिषु यः परः श्रीशुक उवाच वरीयानेशते प्रश्नः कृतो लोकहितं नृप आत्मवित्सम्मतः पुंसां श्रोतव्यादिषु यः परः
श्रीशुक उवाच वरीयान् एष ते प्रश्नः कृतो लोकहितं नृप आत्मवित् सम्पदः पुंसां श्रोतव्यादिषु यः परः श्रीशुक उवाच वरीयान् एष ते प्रश्नः कृतो लोकहितं नृप आत्मवित् सम्पदः पुंसां श्रोतव्यादिषु यः परः
श्रोतव्यादीनि राजेन्द्र, नृणां सन्ति सहस्रशः, अपश्यताम् आत्मतत्त्वम्. You can break it that much. अपश्यताम् आत्मतत्त्वम्, गृहेषु गृहमेधिनाम्. श्रोतव्यादीनि राजेन्द्र, नृणां सन्ति सहस्रशः, अपश्यताम् आत्मतत्त्वम् गृहेषु गृहमेधिनाम्.
श्रोतव्यादीनि राजेन्द्र नृणां सन्ति सहस्रशः अपश्यात् sorry I didn't get that word अपश्यताम् आत्मतत्त्वं गृहेषु गृहमेधिनां श्रोतव्यादीनि राजेन्द्र नृणां सन्ति सहस्रशः अपश्यातम् आत्मतत्त्वं गृहेषु गृहमेधिनाम्.
But again, apashyatam
आत्मतत्त्वम्.
Yeah.
श्रोतव्यादीनि राजेन्द्र नृणां सन्ति सहस्रशः अपश्यताम् आत्मतत्त्वं गृहेषु गृहमेदिनां श्रोतव्यादीनि राजेन्द्र नृणां सन्ति सहस्रशः अपश्यताम् आत्मतत्त्वं गृहेषु गृहमेदिनाम्.
निद्रया क्रियते नक्तं, व्यवायेन च वा वयः, दिवा चार्तेहया राजन्, कुटुम्बभरणेन वा. निद्रया क्रियते नक्तं व्यवायेन च वा वयः, दिवा चार्तेहया राजन्, कुटुम्बभरणेन वा.
निद्रया ह्रियते नक्तं व्यवायेन च वा वयः दिवाचार्थहया राजन् कुटुम्बभरणेन वा.
Second word, चार्तेहया.
चार्थेहया. निद्रया ह्रियते नक्तं व्यवायेन च वा वयः दिवाचार्थे हया राजन् कुटुम्बभरणेन वा.
निद्रया ह्रियते नक्तं व्यवायेन च वावयः दिवाचार्ते हया राजन् कुटुम्बपरणेन वा निद्रया ह्रियते नक्तं व्यवायेन च वावयः दिवाचार्ते हया राजन् कुटुम्बपरणेन वा.
The first line, last word, just vayaha. Sometimes I felt like you were stretching it. Va vayaha.
Okay.
Dehapatya kaladradishu. So that va that is there, we'll just break it. Ish and va that is there. Make it shu. Kalatradishu, comma. Next word will start with the a. Atma sainyeshva satsapi. That you cannot break it. Atma sainyeshva satswapi. Tesham pramatto nidhanam, comma. Pashyannapi na pashyati. देहापत्यकलत्रादिषु आत्मसैन्येष्व सत्स्वपि तेषां प्रमत्तो निधनं पश्यन्नपि न पश्यति.
देहापत्यकलत्रादिषु आत्मसैन्येष्वसत्त्वपि तेषां प्रमत्तो निधनं पश्यन्नपि न पश्यति. देहापत्याकलत्रादिषु आत्मसैन्येष्वसत्स्वपि तेषां प्रमत्तो निधनं पश्यन्नपि न पश्यति.
देहापत्यकलत्रादिषु आत्मसैन्येषु स्वभि असत्स्वभि तेषां प्रमत्तो निधनं पश्यन्नपि न पश्यति. देहापत्यकलत्रादिषु आत्मसैन्येषु असत्स्वभि तेषां प्रमत्तो निधनं पश्यन्नपि न पश्यति.
तस्मात् भारत सर्वात्मा, कमा, भगवान् ईश्वरो हरिः श्रोतव्यः कीर्तितव्यश्च, कमा, स्मर्तव्यश्चेच्छता भयम्. Okay, ish and then chechata bhayam. So just do one time for the next 8 minutes and then I'll do some meaning of this chapter. Tasmad bharata sarvatma bhagavan ishwaro harihi shrotavyah kirtitavyascha smartavyaschechata bhayam.
तस्मात् भारत सर्वात्मा भगवान् ईश्वरो हरिः श्रोतव्यः कीर्तितव्यश्च स्मर्तव्यश्च तपोभयम्.
So that put smartavyaschechata bhayam.
स्मर्तव्येच्छेच्छता भयम्.
तस्मात् भारत सर्वात्मा भगवान् ईश्वरो हरिः श्रोतव्यः कीर्तितव्यश्च समर्तव्यश्चेच्छता भयम्.
And the using the full sa, it's a half sa. Smartavyash.
Okay, स्मर्तव्यश्चेच्छता भयम्.
एतावान् सांख्य योगाभ्याम, कॉमा, स्वधर्म परिनिष्ठया जन्म लाभः परः पुंसाम, put a im. Next word starts with a ante narayana smritihi. एतावान् सांख्य योगाभ्याम स्वधर्म परिनिष्ठया जन्म लाभः परः पुंसाम अन्ते नारायण स्मृतिः.
एतवान् सांख्ययोगाभ्यां स्वधर्मान् परिनिष्ठया जन्मलाभिः परः पुंसाम् अन्ते नारायण स्मृतिः.
एतावान् सांख्ययोगाभ्यां स्वधर्म परिनिष्ठया जन्मलाभः परः पुंसाम् अन्ते नारायण स्मृतिः.
प्रायेण मुनयो राजन्, कॉमा, निवृत्ता विधिषेधतः नैर्गुण्यस्था रमन्ते स्म, कॉमा, गुणानुकथने हरेः. प्रायेण मुनयो राजन् निवृत्ता विधिषेधतः नैर्गुण्यस्था रमन्ते स्म गुणानुकथने हरेः.
प्रायेण मुनयो राजन् निवृत्ता विधिषेधतः नैर्गुण्यास्थारमन्ते स्म गुणानुकथने हरः हरे
हरे हरेः
गुणनानुकथने हरेः
प्रायेण मुनयो राजन् निवृत्ता विदिशेततः नैपुण्यस्तारमन्ते स्म गुणानुकथने हरेः
इदं भागवतं नाम पुराणं ब्रह्म संहितम् अधीतवान् द्वापरादौ पितुर्द्वैपायनात् अहम्. If you want to break it, that द्वैपायनाद् अहम्. इदं भागवतं नाम पुराणं ब्रह्म संहितम् अधीतवान् द्वापरादौ पितुर्द्वैपायनादहम्.
इदं भागवतं नाम पुराणं ब्रह्म संहितम् अधीतवान् द्वापरादौ पितुर्द्वापयानादहम्
द्वैपायनादहम्.
पितुर्द्वैपायनादहम्
इदं भागवतं नाम पुराणं ब्रह्म संहितम् अधीतवान् द्वापरादौ पितुर्द्वैपायनादहम्
हरिनिष्ठितोऽपि नैर्गुण्ये. I think some books don't have the ye, it might just have a ya there. If you have a ya, just put a ye there. Nairgunye, comma. Uttama shloka leelaya grihita cheta rajarshe, comma. Akhyanam yadadhitavan. परिनिष्ठितोऽपि नैर्गुण्ये उत्तमश्लोकलीलया गृहीतचेता राजर्षे आख्यानं यदधीतवान्.
परिनिष्ठितोऽपि नैर्गुण्ये उत्तमश्लोकलीलया गृहीतचेता राजर्षे आख्यानं यदधीतवान्
परिनिष्ठितो अपि नैपुण्ये उत्तमश्लोकलीलया गृहीतचेता राजर्षे आज्ञानं यदतीतवान्.
First line you don't have to separately call out api. The ore flow it will just come. Parinishthito. Yeah, that's it. Tadaham tebhidhasyami, comma, महापौरुषिको भवान् यस्य श्रद्धधताम् आशु. So श्रद्धधताम् आशु. So double the and the dha is coming. श्रद्धधताम् आशु, comma, स्यान् मुकुन्दे मतिस् सती. तदहं तेऽभिधास्यामि महापौरुषिको भवान् यस्य श्रद्धधतामाशु स्यान्मुकुन्दे मतिः सती.
तदहं ते विधास्यामि महापौरुषिको भवान् यस्य श्रद्धततामाशो स्यान्मुकुन्दे मतिः सति
तदहं ते विधास्यामि महापौरुषिको भवान् यस्य श्रद्धददामाशु स्यान्मुकुन्दे मतिः सति.
एतन् निर्विद्यमानानां, you can break it that ma, निर्विद्यमानानां, comma, इच्छतां, next word will start with the e, इच्छतां अकुतो भयं योगिनां नृप निर्णीतं, comma, हरेर् नामानुकीर्तनम्. एतन्निर्विद्यमानानाम् इच्छतामकुतो भयं योगिनां नृपनिर्णीतं हरेर्नामानुकीर्तनम्.
एतन्निर्विद्यमानानाम् इच्छतामकुतो भयं योगिनां नृपनिर्णीतं हरेर्नामानुकीर्तनम्.
एतन्निर्विद्यमानानाम् इच्छतामकुतो भयं योगिनां नृपनिर्णीतं हरेर्नामानुकीर्तनम्.
किं प्रमत्तस्य बहुभिः, comma, परोक्षैर्हायनैरिह वरं मुहूर्तं विदितं, comma, घटेत श्रेयसे यतः. किं प्रमत्तस्य बहुभिः परोक्षैर्हायनैरिह वरं मुहूर्तं विदितं घटेत श्रेयसे यतः.
किं प्रमत्तस्य बहुभिः परोक्षैर्हायनैरिह वरं मुहूर्तं विदितं खडते श्रेयसे यतः.
The second line after the comma, घटेत.
घटेत श्रेयसे.
किं प्रमत्तस्य बहुभिः प्रोक्षैर्यायनैरिक वरं मुहूर्तं विदितं घटेत श्रेयसे यतः.
Viditam kapram comma, Devati, okay.
वरं मुहूर्तं विदितं घटेत श्रेयसे यतः.
Rajesh, is it ghatate or ghateta?
Ghateta. If you don't have a te, then just add a te there. Ghateta.
Okay, I have a ghatate. Okay.
Khadvango nama rajarshihi. So put a visarga comma, rajarshihi. Next on top of the nya, that ir goes away. Nyatve yattam ihayushaha. Muhurtat sarvam utsrajya, comma, gatavan abhayam harim. Khadvango nama rajarshihi. Nyatve yattam ihayushaha. Muhurtat sarvam utsrajya. Gatavan abhayam harim.
खड्वाङ्गो नाम राजर्षिः ज्ञात्वे यत्तां मिहायुषः मुहूर्तात् सर्वमुत्सृज्य गतवान् अभयं हरिम्.
खट्वाङ्गो नाम राजर्षिः ज्ञात्वे यत्तामिहायुषः मुहूर्तात् सर्वमुत्सृज्य गतवान् अभयं हरिम्.
Tavapyetarhi, you cannot break it, Kauravya, comma, Saptaham Jivitavadihi, comma, Upakalpaya Tatsarvam, comma, Tavat Yat Samparayikam. Oh, sorry. Tavapyetarhi Kauravya, Saptaham Jivitavadihi, Upakalpaya Tatsarvam, Tavat Yat Samparayikam.
तवापेतर्हि कौरव्य सप्ताहं जीवितावधिः उपकल्पाय तत्सर्वं तावत्स्याम्बरायिकम्.
And the first word, Upakalpaya.
उपकल्पय तत्सर्वं.
And then the last word, Gopiji, this is something different. Say that Tavat Yat Samparayikam.
तावत् यत्साम्बरायिकम्.
तवाप्येतर्हि गौरव्य सप्ताहं जीवितावतिः उपकल्प्य यत्सर्वं तावत् यत्साम्परायिकम्.
Revati, in the second line, first word, Upakalpaya Tatsarvam.
उपकल्पय तत्सर्वं तावत् यत्साम्परायिकम्.
Let's stop here today because that's where it's a transition point on the meaning also. So I'll quickly, we have 7 minutes, right? I'll summarize the up to so now. Shuka Brahman starts talking, right? In this thing from now on, it will be Shi Shuka Uvacha. So he starts by saying, first of all, he thanks, saying the question you asked is Loka Hitam. It's valuable for the entire Lokam because otherwise it's waste of time for Shuka Brahman, right? Because you can ask a lot of questions which is distraction or a noise. He says the question you have asked is a good subject matter for hearing because the question itself, there's a lot of value in it. And then he goes on to say that Shota Bhyadini Rajendra Ninam Santi, that one he says, people ask all kinds of questions, right? You can have political questions, scientific question, social question, economic question. But he says people forget to ask the basic question of how do I get rid of the miseries of life? How do I get rid of all the problems I'm having? Nobody asks that question. Because of not pondering on that question, what they do is they spend all night and all day contemplating and worrying about other things which are very irrelevant. It talks about maintaining kutumba bharanena. They're carrying the burden of their families. They're worried about it. They're worried about making money. And they're not talking about, they're more talking about monetary profit rather than talking about spiritual profit. How do I, improve my, spiritual dependence? They're not talking about that because they're getting distracted with all of these things. And he says, very quickly in one line, because sometimes you have a one line answer, right? So in stanza 5, he gives a one line answer. He says, the person who is to be free of all the miseries, Shrotavyaha, Kartavyaha, Smartavyaha, he has to do all of these things that you asked for. Bhagavan Harihi. He says, as long as to the Bhagavan Hari, you are talking about him, you're hearing about him, you're glorifying him, you're remembering him. That's the one-line answer to your entire 10 questions. So don't do anything which is not Hari. Do things which are only Hari. Right? That's a simple way Shukra Brahmam is answering that question that Parikshit is asking, the 10 questions, right, that he is asking. And then he goes on to say that no matter whether it is somebody who is following Sankhya Yoga, which we saw, or who are doing the Ashtanga Yoga. I had a Dashakam 4 in one of the class today. You're following the complexities of Ashtanga Yoga, or you are doing Swadharma, Karma Yoga. Doesn't matter. The most important thing is Ante Narayana Smritihi. That's the most important. Doesn't matter what path you follow. At the final moment of your life, the question is, are you thinking about Narayana? If you're thinking about Narayana, then no matter what path you took is the right path. If you're not able to think about Narayana, then it is not the right path, right? That's what he's saying. And it is such an important thing because it's very easy to kind of say, yeah, no matter what it is, we'll think about Narayana, right? And then I was just contemplating on it, and you can do the same thing. When you go to bed at night, everybody has some worries. I have something happening at work tomorrow. I have something about family, and that's constantly pondering your mind. You cannot solve it that night, right? At night, you're going to go to sleep. You don't know what's going to happen. But the thing is constantly pondering. You will not be able to get that thought out of your mind. It'll keep ringing in your mind, right? So just when you think of a simple example, you're going to sleep, you cannot take any action. Still, that thought is pondering your mind. Imagine you are about to die right now, and you are able to get that 1 minute when you're about to die, right? Do you think your mind will think about Narayana? No. It will think about the millions of things that has to be done, because you can probably still act on it, right? So you see, it's extremely difficult. It's very easy to say, think of Narayana at the end, but it's extremely difficult, right? So that's why later on in 15, when he says, you have 7, I'll come there, he'll talk about what you can do, right? So he says it's not that easy, but doesn't matter which path you follow, as long as Ante Narayana Smriti is happening, it's great. Then he says, the best way to answer your question is, at the end of Dwapara Yuga, I learned from my father, Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasadeva, I learned the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is Brahma Samhitam. Because if you think of Bhagavad Gita is what the Lord himself spoke, right? It is the sound of Krishna is Bhagavad Gita. The Brahma Samhitam is spoken by an incarnation of Krishna, of the Narayana, which is Vyasa, and it talks about Narayana. So he says that's why it's called a Brahma Samhitam. So I'll tell you that, because that Shukra Brahman gives his own story. He says, I myself was in a state of spiritual realization where I did not care about anything else, right? I was absolutely immune to everything. But however, this particular thing, even though I was liberated and I didn't care about anything, this thing attracted me. So there's so much in this that I learned by just listening from my father, Dvaipayana, as he said the Srimad Bhagavatam to me. So there's so much to learn from this. So let me now tell that to you, right? And he says that in stanza 10, he says that Srimad Bhagavatam, which I learned, because you are a very sincere devotee of Krishna, right? And because Parikshit has been blessed by Krishna. So because you are a sincere devotee, I am going to tell you that, right? So please listen with attention, because this is extremely important. And he also goes on to say that he gives one example, because Parikshit is worried that he has only 7 days left. So I'll give you one example. There's a king called Khadvanga who was there. So that king Khadvanga, he went to help the Devas in some war. So he finished all that. The Devas were extremely happy. And they said, okay, Khadvanga, what do you want, right? So Khadvanga says, look, I want to know how much time I have left. Because depending on how much time I have left, I want to ask you for some things. Because if I have a lot of time left, I'll ask for a lot of things, right? So the Deva says, unfortunately, when you go back, you only have a moment left of life. You're going to die. So he says, thanks. Because he says when he comes back, he then completely surrenders to the Lord when he comes, he says, and then he attains liberation. So Shukra Brahman says in, which one was that? 14th. So he says, Parikshit, why are you worrying? Khadvanga had a moment left. You have Saptaham, you have 7 days left. You have more time than what Khadvanga has. So don't worry, since you are biggest devotee of the Lord, I will tell you what you need to do, and I will take you to the path of realization or path of liberation, right? So with that, then Shukra Brahman, then first in this, he starts off by talking about Virat Purusha. He talks about the Virat Purusha Varnanam in this chapter, where he says you first have to give up everything and start thinking about it. That's the first one Shukra Brahman starts with, which we'll cover in the next class. Shri Hare Namaha. Shri Hare Namaha, Shri Hare Namaha. Gopika Jeevana Smaranam, Govinda Govinda, Sadgurunath Maharaj ki jai. कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Rajesh.
Thank you,
Thank
Rajesh.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Rajesh.
Rajesh.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Bye, everyone. Bye.